Holy tea, man. Tiki here, and I am watching through each and every episode of Batman the Animated Series for the first time. And what's this? We come upon a late season 4 episode, and it's a villain that we've never seen before. But alas, there's a slight bit of familiarity with it. Could it be this is the genesis of the famous Michael Chiklis character on Gotham that became a meme? There's only one person who can help me find out.
Yes, Blue Dragon 5 here. See, folks, long ago I made a vow to educate Tiki in the ways of Batman the Animated Series, serving as his spirit guide to Gotham in a way.
And tonight, we're talking about Lockup. All right, Dragon. I don't know. I'm pretty sure the Michael Chiklis character was like maybe based on another character. You'll have to clarify that with me in the background. But this episode just very much calls to mind the Chiklis Gotham character. And I kind of like it. It's a very obscure episode, at least from my perspective. Like, I've never heard of this. I've never heard of this character, but I enjoyed it a lot. And there's some definite Bruce Wayne stuff in here that's like top tier, like A-level Bruce Wayne stuff that we'll get to very early on in the episode. So I feel like this is a really fun original villain. We get to see a lot of the side characters doing their thing. It's a good conflict. We get actually a little bit of, we get a little like first act sort of like mini trial with some of the villains, which is a lot of fun. So overall, Dragon, I am feeling this one a lot, buddy. I really am, and I'm very curious if this is like a hidden gem in the community, or if the community just kind of writes it off, or what. Because I went into this with very kind of like with no real expectations at all. I don't want to say no expectations. I just didn't know what to expect. And coming out of it, I got to say this might be one of my favorites of season 4.
Okay.
Hot take? Question mark?
Season 3.
Oh God, I'm so sorry. Season 3. Thank you. I'm so sorry. All right. So, Dragon, please, by all means.
Yeah, so this, in my opinion, this one is very much kind of a long lost gem of sorts. Like this one, I mean, again, this is what I'm talking about.
And these episodes are kind of like fundamentally the reason I enjoy doing the animated Batcave is because like I get to approach these with fresh eyes. I know what the iconic ones are, but I don't really have years of watching these episodes in syndication or on DVD, so I'm approaching every one of these with fresh eyes, and it's been a really fun exercise so far, Dragon, and this episode is just kind of proof of that. I really, like I said, I really had a lot of fun with it.
And yet again, season 3, the hallmark of the season is, again, this is where all like kind of the lost gems go, because everyone always goes to season 1, 2, or the revamp. Those are all like, hey, Over the Edge is it's a great episode, but you know what also has great episodes? Season 3. Let's talk about that more, but
All right, Dragon, now I'm just thinking about like a rewritten Mary Poppins Return song where the lost gems go.
Right.
Anyways, I'm sorry.
Anyway, but yeah, so of course, well, let me start with the credentials of the episode here.
Yes.
So, Lockup. This is directed by the great Dan Reba, who again is kind of the wonderkin of season 3. Came into his own. Again, he really goes up from from 3 onward. He did Trial, which again, given the Act 1 of it all, I mean, they picked the right guy. Baby Doll and Riddler's Reform, 3 solid episodes.
Oh yeah,
and
very much.
In conjunction with those same exact episodes, writer, the wonderful Paul Dini. Trial, Riddler's Reform, Baby Doll, all Dini magic, baby.
This definitely has some Dini in it for sure, absolutely.
But also some assists. Dini is the main. Dini, he brought the concept to the table, but we also have Dini working with some other familiar writers. He worked with Marty Eisenberg and Robert Skier. These guys are a writing team. They had previously done What is Reality, the big kind of like virtual reality episode, and one of my personal favorites, one of my favorite gems from season 3, his Silicon Soul. That was these guys.
Oh yeah.
Studio worked on this, Dong Yang, of course, Trial and Riddler's Reform. So let me tell you how this episode happens. So Paul Dini, he comes up with the idea of like, what if we had a proactive solution applied to the Arkham Asylum problem? You know, what if like Bruce Wayne got a guard in there to try and keep the inmates there? You know, what if he got like a security expert? And then of course, classic Dini. What if the guard was crazier than the inmates? At least most of the inmates. And so basically, Dini, the Paul Dini of it all is Act 1. Act 1's all Dini. So basically, the origin of Lockup, that's all Dini, and the whole creation, the name, all that. Act 2 onward, that's Skier and Eisenberg. That's those guys. And as you can probably tell, Lockup, he's kind of mild after. He's kind of a mixture of Travis Bickle from Taxi Driver.
Mm-hmm.
Very much his ranty nature, and his look and design is very much based off Danger Diabolic, kind of an Italian vigilante kind of superhero sort of thing.
And Dragon, now refresh me on this. Is there a connection between this guy and Michael Chiklis from Gotham?
I think I brought it up maybe once during that, but I don't think there's like, I don't believe it's why they didn't just call him. It feels Lockup-esque, feels very Lyle Bolton-esque, but it's not an adaptation.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like if they adapted Michael Chiklis into Lyle Bolton, it would fit.
Because some people could make the connection, because, you know, Chiklis had like he eventually got like a kind of a Phantasm Reaper arm. Some people say he's kind of like a version of the Reaper. I think, again, I'm pretty sure I brought up Lockup at some point during that. So Lockup is being like the Law and Order type gone too far. So very much, you know, in conjunction there. Originally, the other writers, again, Dini kind of had like, he wanted to go with Lockup, but they were pitching Cage Without a Key is the title of the episode, given Lockup's big line later. And want to know what Lockup's original name was?
What?
Deadbolt.
Deadbolt. Oh God.
for the Bolton of it all, and I'll mention it briefly. Tiki, I've been waiting for us to get to this episode because this one, I need you to file this one away. I needed you to know who Lyle Bolton was for some things we got.
Okay. Well, I know who Lyle Bolton is, Dragon.
This is one of the reasons. It's one of the reasons we're waiting to get to a certain point in the animated series before we get to some other projects. Okay.
Folks, this is his cryptic master plan that he's literally been teasing out for like 5 years. I have no idea about.
Yeah, but Bolton's a big part of it. It's okay.
Okay, fair enough.
All right. All that said,
I will say Dragon Bolton definitely made a good, positive impression on me, so I will not forget him.
Very good to hear. Okay, let's start the episode.
Okay, so Dragon, one of my favorite points with this episode is that it basically starts at the third act of a conventional, like, villain reformed episode. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's kind of funny,
where it's like Scarecrow's broken out, and he's like, please, I'm telling you, I didn't even mean to do any crime. I just want to get away from that guy. He makes me scared, and I'm the Scarecrow, for God's sakes.
I'm shaking, Batman. I'm the master of fear, and I'm shaking.
This is a wonderful cold open, Dragon. It really is. I got instantly into this.
So two things, okay? One, I love that in the previous episode with Harley's Holiday, we also had like Scarecrow being brought in at the start of the episode. So just we're kind of establishing kind of old Scarecrow's being taken in, and then of course like, okay, well, something goes a little awry this time, and it's like really raising an eyebrow about something going on in Arkham. Like, oh boy, this is a regular occurrence has been interrupted. And secondly, originally this is supposed to be Mad Hatter, but then they kind of realized, oh my god, as much as we'd love to work with Riley McDowell again, just the Mad Hatter basically saying he's like the Jabberwocky Batman, he's like the Jabberwocky. Right. But they realized how wonderful an opportunity would it be if we had someone who again epitomizes fear, who's terrified of this guy, and that's an introduction.
Yeah, it's a stroke of genius writing wise. It's great. Chef's kiss.
We meet Lyle Bolton.
Love this intro. Love the shadow work on him.
Mm-hmm. So basically, he's very, very, very scary. He's also voiced by the wonderful Bruce Weiss. Now, Bruce Weiss, he actually has done some work in the Superman animated series, and he was in actually Lois and Clark. He played like a real skeezy mob attorney. He was really
nice.
Really good. like one of those cheesy '90s attorneys too. Anyway, so let's. All right. So Bolton here is saying, Congratulations, Professor Crane. You're the first to escape under my charge, and the last. Now he's very honorific. I love how he just dwarfs Batman a little bit, just compared to him. I mean, they're on the stairs, mind you, but still, even when we see him later, he's just he's like basically he's like a foot or two below Bane. That's where he's at right now. So he says, yeah.
But by the same token, Dragon, one of my favorite things about him, like even after he becomes Lockup, is that he is very like complimentary and respectful about Batman. You know what I mean? Like he always views Batman as his equal throughout the episode, and I love that.
Yeah, he's all honorific with Batman. I won't let you and the people of Gotham down again, Batman. A solemn promise. Again, basically, what if we took like a '60s Batman element? Like we're all very saluting to Batman.
Right, exactly.
Like, what if you took that and then you darkened it, like made it intimidating? Like, oh god, what if it's not a good thing?
Oh, it's great. I love it. I love this episode, Dragon.
It just gets better, Tiki. Buckle up, man. You know this. We're getting there. So Robin,
all right.
Robin voices that. Oh man, that Bolton guy. He's a 10 on the creepometer, but he's doing a good job. Batman fears may be too good. You saw a terrified Scarecrow. I love that. Always stuck with me too. Just Scarecrow being hauled away and just like like the pushing on his face, like oh boy, like, oh god, Scarecrow's terrified. May be too good. Again, Batman having compassion for the rogues. That's a Dini gem, and I love it.
All right, this leads to the trial, which is going to lead to Dragon. This leads to one of my all-time favorite Bruce Wayne moments, man.
No, it's great, isn't it?
All right. Let's get to it.
Okay, so the point being, Bruce Wayne is called an impromptu inquest to kind of like respond to some accusations, again, lobbed by the Scarecrow. Some misgivings about Mr. Bolton here, and of course, the board here, representative of Dr. Bartholomew, who's kind of our fill-in for Dr. Arkham because we never got there. Bruce Wayne, Mayor Hill, one of your favorites. And Commissioner Gordon, and they're following up the allegations, and we have Bolton there just sitting there. And tell me, I want to bring this up with Bolton too. You're gonna love this. Does Bolton remind you of Ralph Bakshi at all?
A little, you know what? Not when I was watching the episode.
He's
now that you mentioned it, yeah.
Just as tall and intimidating. Okay. So anyway, so
Gordon. If anyone's got a problem with my methods, please tell me.
I love that so much. Please. Like Gordon's like, "Are you sure about this?" Like, well, yeah. We exposit like how the heck Bolton gets introduced here. Bruce Wayne brought him on via Wayne Foundation grant because of his knowledge of high-tech security systems, which is going to be really important later.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I like Bruce Wayne, Jim Gordon, kind of working in the broad daylight together. It's kind of nice.
You know what? You're right. I didn't even really think about that because Bruce is like the spotlight of the scene. But yeah, it is cool to have Gordon there right alongside him.
So Dini's always had this philosophy of even in a severe episode, you want to try to infuse a little bit of comedy, and this is kind of like the beginnings of that sort of thing. Where again, dark episode, we have really kind of funny bits within this trial before things get really scary. So okay, let's see. We bring in. Yeah. Okay, so we bring in a few of kind of like the less harmful inmates. Like Joker's not here because I wouldn't buy Joker's terrify this guy at all. So we have just a few people that are likable, like Harley Quinn, who we just really got a whole boatload of likability for last episode. So Harley Quinn's there. Miss Quinn, do you have any problems regarding Lyle Bolton? Any of these allegations? Like, no. This is like, wait, I'm sorry, what? You got a hearing problem? No, nada. Ixnay, zilch. Butt kiss, okay? Just very, very boisterous of like, no problems, moving on, because she looks at Bolton and gets a terrifying look.
All right, so then we get Scarface, and I think Scarface was a great choice to bring on, man. I'm loving this whenever Scarface pops up.
He loves bringing back Scarface. You're going to see that in the revamp.
Ooh, nice.
So, like, the ventriloquist is about to speak up, and then Scarface, like, no, he's a real
stand-up guy.
Really? No questions here, Chief. So then, and this is this the moment or is it the one that follows? Because they're both good.
It's the one where Bruce kind of like incites the thing.
Oh yeah, it's great. So here we go. Here. Okay. Okay, so Professor Crane, he's frightened and just sitting there for like 10 minutes, and it's like, sir, certainly you have something to say. No, sir. And I
I
love
love how
Bruce.
Bruce, it's like Bruce just really, really leans in on this. He's like, okay, this is truly bullshit because I saw it with my own eyes last night how terrified he was.
That reaction is perfect, man. Just like
Hmm.
him sitting up in his chair, like, okay, you know something's amiss.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah,
there
yeah.
with you, man. I love it. So, and of course, like Bolton's trying to like really kind of slide in here. It's like, but yours was the loudest voice of protest. Surely you must have some misgivings about my methods. It appears I was mistaken. Then we have the sly Bruce Wayne move. Take it, tell me what it is.
This is so good, Dragon. Again, this is like top tier Bruce
It
Wayne action
is.
right
It's
here, man.
genius. And also, I
So,
love how it kind of helps later in the episode for him. Keep
uh,
going.
so Bruce Wayne just slides in. He kind of takes everything he says on face value, and he's like, "Well, based on what we've been seeing here, I propose extending Mister Bolton's contract another 18 months."
They all
And
panic.
man, Dragon Bruce Wayne he knows what he's doing, dude. He knows exactly what he's doing.
Yeah, he does. He's putting bait on the hook, man. All the fish are gobbling it up. So we have like all the inmates begin to panic because they realize, oh god,
Dragon. It's great.
I can't take 18 more months of this. So we have again Bruce Batman being sly in the day to day, really great.
Uh-huh.
All right, so point being, now they're all going forward with the truth here. Like if we don't, and like
Bruce kind of like, if you notice, Bruce kind of like sneaks behind Harley, like freaking out, and he's kind of got like a kind of a sly smile on his face. He's like, "Yeah, it worked."
it does. So Harley's telling like bashing Scarface on the head. It's like, no, don't listen to him. He's crazy. As the ventriloquist trying to speak of Harley, like, beats him on the head. Like, no, it's our only chance. If we don't speak now, we'll never get rid of him. So then basically we hear like really frantic the testimonies that were ignored earlier, trying to get in the last minutes here. It's like, he takes our privileges away even when we're good, and oh god, then the scarecrow here, he says scum like us must be kept in line, and he chains us down at night and electrifies our doors.
Oh God.
Now, what does Scarface say?
I don't have the line on me, Dragon. Sorry.
You held me over a can of termites. Termites.
Termites. All right, Dragon. Let's maybe try and remember for that to be the stinger if we can't think of anything else. Termites.
All right, so then the point being, like, he's an animal, he's a monster, lobbing all these things. He progressively throughout all this, we keep cutting to an irate Bolton. You can see the steam coming out of his ears, and he's just more and more pissed off. He's hulking out in front of it, and this guy's already a Hulk. Imagine what that would be. So, then he's like, shut up. And I love Bruce White's. He always has that leathery voice, and I love it.
Yeah.
It's like, shut up, all of you. And I love the scale here. They all cower in the corner. And again, I love how for all these Batman villains, you're feeling such, again, like Batman feels, compassion. And
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh god,
absolutely.
he's
They're
going
not
to beat the tar out of them.
this episode.
Exactly. So they're all cowering.
Mm.
Yeah, they're all cowering in the corner, and he says, basically, he's towering, and he's basically about to go get him. He's fighting all the orderlies that are trying to hold him back. Just punches them out, and they're about to he's about to wipe the floor with, and then Bruce Wayne very slyly, very awesome.
Right.
And I love this moment too. This is one of the best Bruce Wayne moments ever. It's a top tenner.
Okay.
He along with that ruse earlier, that's great too. When he tips over the chair very slyly as Bolton's charging toward him, and he trips on his face, and the orderlies get him. It's great. Oh my god! Then Bolton's just having at it. Again, you feel the scares here. You're all
I come in me.
Yeah. You're all scum and should be beaten within an inch of your misbegotten lives.
And so then he kind of makes a vow that sets up the rest of the episode. Now I realize I was wrong to punish those pathetic miscreants. They're only symptoms. You're the cause. The gutless police, mindless bureaucrats, and coddling doctors. You should all be locked up in a cage without a key.
So this all informs Act 3, where we're going here with his targets and everything. So this is we're building it up, folks. You'll notice who was left off that list.
Oh God, who?
Bruce Wayne, because he was vouching for him. This is what I love about this. Like Bruce Wayne said,
You're
"Hey,
right.
let's renew his contract," and he thinks that chair thing was an accident. He didn't see that
Oh
because
man,
he's all
that's great. That's great.
right, and that's what saves Bruce Wayne later on with like all the people being kidnapped. Because like, yeah, he was on Bolton's side. Bolton loves this guy, but also he loves Batman, which I think is genius. He loves both Bruce Wayne and Batman. So speaking of which, another target here, Summer Gleeson. She's waiting outside of Arkham, doing like kind of an exit interview at like, Mr. Bolton, Mr. Bolton, any thoughts on your dismissal from Arkham Asylum? And then he has like another chilling line here. The city is an open wound,
Oh God.
begging to be stitched. Then we transition to the black and white TV, and this is great too. Again, it's kind of like it's reflective of Batman's big moment in like the wide kind of foyer, the wide living room where like the bat crashes through the windows. It's kind of Lockup's equivalent to that because this is where he's donned the omen of kind of his firing essentially. Where it's no, he was nowhere left to we've had no more reports of Live Bolton. We haven't seen him anywhere. And then this is the bit I love, and Tiki, I've been teeing this up for episodes now. Again, Paul Dini's his take on the rogues of Gotham. They're like celebrities, and
yeah, absolutely,
makes
absolutely.
Lockup sick that they're glorifying these villains, these criminals. She's beautiful, she's deadly, basically doing the whole celebrity talk of Poison Ivy on a crime spree yet again, like a Thelma and Louise sort of thing.
It's like the villains are like fucking like influencers.
That exactly. Turning pervasive liberal media, turning monsters into.
Which I mean, let's face it, influencers are kind of villains anyways.
That's true. So Lockup ultimately pushes over this big old TV, knocks it down, and oh boy, he's got a mission. So 6 months later, because we need time to build these things.
That, by the way, Dragon, I'm a man who loves a good time jump.
Yeah,
so.
you go gaga for the time jump.
I do, unabashedly.
6 months later, we're at the Gotham.
By the way, Dragon, really quick, did you ever see the video that Nostalgia Critic put out recently about like what if Incredibles 2 had a time jump?
Well, did he put that? Was that Channel Awesome, or did he put that out?
Well, it was Channel Awesome, but I think it was his project.
Well, I'm asking because that's why no, I haven't seen it.
It's good. It's really good.
Yeah, I'm sure
There's
you would.
A lot of things I was wanting, Dragon. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Anyway, so we're at the Gotham Grill, which gotta tell you, looks like a nice place.
Uh-huh.
So Bruce Wayne's taking Summer out to lunch to talk the Wayne Court merger. He's putting the moves on her to get like a good report out.
Jim, it's lunch. Gotta fucking pull that one out of the vault.
Yeah, it's fun to pull that one out now. All right, so Bruce Wayne, again, he is called away by essentially Lockup for a diversion because he doesn't want anything to happen to Bruce Wayne. So Bruce is called away on the phone as Summer Gleason's getting in her car, and she is locked in.
Yep.
And towed.
It's the theme.
Yep. So she's being towed by this really ominous-looking van. Again,
the terrifying, like, robot arms in the back of the truck, Dragon.
Again, it's like the Art Deco thing.
It's almost kind of like Terminator-esque.
Yeah, a little Hardek-esque, too, yeah. All right, so Bruce Wayne, like, he springs into action. This is a nice bit here, a little Iron Man inspired here, where he's he has after the decoy call again to protect Bruce Wayne with the whole approval of Bolton's methods and everything. He hits like a little button in his briefcase while he's locked into the revolving door, and this is a cool little idea. So a little smoke screen happens, and he changes into the bat suit, lickety split.
Yeah.
Now there's a bad entrance for you. Yeah. So he uses like an explosive capsule on the door, and he gives chase to the van, which reveals Lockup in full accoutrements. He has a really cool costume, really cool design. Another thing that's
you know what? I feel like his design is like Liefeld-esque in the most complimentary way I could possibly.
It is. If Liefeld meets Danger Diabolic, the mask he's wearing is based off that. That's the whole Danger Diabolic of it all. But it's like that. But I love how the locks and like the chains are worked into the suit. But again, he looks like I love the practice. He's basically it's a practicality.
It's like Liefeld before Liefeld went like super over the top with the weapons and stuff.
I mean, he's built like Cable. Let's just say it right now.
Yeah,
Cable. Only he has reasonably proportionate feet. But then again, most of the Bruce Timm designs, if you really look at them, especially when they used to make the toys back in the day, they had really small feet. Anyway, um, but seriously,
He
it's like we.
does very toygenic. That's actually one of the first impressions I got of him, so it's funny you mentioned that.
But you know what the crime is? They never made a toy out of him.
Really?
Never.
Wow, that is a crime.
It is like the only lockup toy you'll ever find is like a custom job. You'll never find a real one.
Dragon, keep me updated on like if one ever comes out through like a collector's line or something. Not that I would ever buy one, but like for your benefit.
I know, believe me, Tiki, but right now they're facing hard times right because they shut down the whole DC Direct line, which crushes me.
Oh yeah, right. I can imagine.
Means no
Yeah.
more new ones. Which I mean, until they figure out a new solution, hopefully. But until then, I'm devastated.
I know.
Anyway, so the point being, again, I like the whole guard motif, and it's like a practical vigilante gear. It's like he doesn't have the bat gimmick, but again, he's just kind of like what a guard would have. But again, just uber.
Mhm.
Okay, it's time to cleanse Gotham of the real criminals. You apprehend them. I love how kind of whacked out of his mind this dialogue sounds. You apprehend them.
It's like they're already besties, Dragon.
He thinks he absolutely thinks they're best. He's just exactly. He's just like, you apprehend them, Dark Knight, and Lockup will put them away. Together, no, together we can make this city safe again.
So Batman, of course, does go for summer.
Of course, because again, like Batman's bringing up the logic by kidnapping innocent victims.
Right.
I think so. So of course, like Lockup, no debate amongst Lockup here. If you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. Very, very one-sided. Like,
you disappoint me, Batman.
Yep. The creepy pushing on his eye too, which then leads into the fight. So I love this. So Lockup, he has the high ground. He goes for the jump, and Batman just punches him over his head, which is awesome.
Mm.
But then, of course, Batman gets thrown to the windshield as Summer's kind of in the car during all this. Again, there was actually a deleted part of they deleted a bit from the episode. It's kind of clever, but it would have necessitated a return to the Lockup, which I mean I would have liked to see. But anyway, the point is, originally there was a line during this fight that I know you're funded by Bruce Wayne, Batman.
Oh, interesting.
Which again was interesting, but it caused I think the thing is they wanted it to be more of a one-off in the grand scheme versus like that would imply he's going to eventually put the pieces together that Bruce Wayne's Batman. We might have to do something about that.
Right.
That's why they cut that line. It was a good idea, though, I thought.
Okay, so meanwhile, Bullock literally comes crashing into the episode.
Yes, he does. Again, just like last episode, too. He's crashing all over the place.
He's like the launchpad McQuack of the GCPD.
Yeah, Bullock's been having a bad string of luck this season. Think about it. You have the guy trying to kill him around Christmas time this season. Bullock's been having an off season. All right. So anyway, so like we have like he throws a billy club at the cop car, which basically leads to the swerve and everything. And Batman he goes to check on Bullock and the cop, which leads to Block getting away, and then Bullock, of course, having the ringing endorsement. Just what this town needs: another psycho in a Halloween costume. Poor Batman.
I love how Batman gives like a very passive aggressive bad exit. Like he doesn't even fully leave the scene. He just kind of just like pieces out from Harvey's distance just because he's like, I don't want to hear this shit right now. I've got
just basically he grabs the lock and then like wipe, man. Bad exit wipe. Alright. So let's see. Oh, we're in the Batcave now. So Batman recognizes Bolton's handiwork in the lock. Because how can you not? It's really a high-tech lock. Bolton, high-tech Grant. Makes sense. So without a doubt. And then we have, I think, the most important line of the episode, Tiki. So Robin says, a joke, as he tends to do, another fine villain made possible by a grant from the Wayne Foundation. And then Batman gives this withering look to Robin, just like, oh, you son of a... I took you in when you were an orphan. Gives him that look, but seriously, I love that it's a joke. Robin's like kidding, and I love he feels bad.
I assume that it's stuff like that that's going to eventually lead to Nightwing Dragon. I'm just speculating here, someone who doesn't know any of that shit.
Yeah, yeah, it's all built, it's all fuel in the powder keg. It's all like
Uh-huh.
the trail's being set up, man. It is. But this is what I'm saying though. I think it's the most important line of the episode because both Batman and Bruce Wayne created lockup. And think about it, the Wayne Foundation has incidentally created a couple of the Batman villains. So Robin's line does have lends credence to it, like Mad Hatter. He was a Wayne doctor. Poison Ivy, she was because of the whole Stonegate project that Bruce Wayne and Harvey Dent were building. And Clayface, again, because he got mixed up in like framing Bruce Wayne. Again, Bruce Wayne kind of linked to a lot of these
Not to
capers.
mention
I think.
Two-Face himself, of course.
I mean, of course, that's a big one, but that was
Yeah.
kind of Rupert Thorne. But sure, he wasn't. Yeah, I hear you're absolutely right, though. Yeah, that's a great example. So
Uh-huh.
that's what I'm saying. I think that line, it kind of touches me about the episode. That line really hurts Batman's feelings, and that he's failing in the mission and the goal to kind of fix things. And despite he made a really smart move with the proactive measures, like, hey, I'm going to get a guy to keep the inmates in Arkham. That'll help, right? And you think
Right,
so, but
right, yeah.
you feel bad for him. You know, it's like, hey, he's just trying. I just love like the internalization there. Batman's not. We're not spending a lot of time. I like it's like a little bit that has like that speaks volumes, you know, and we move past it, but it's there.
Mm.
All right, so he tells Robin to check Bolton's address. They cut like a sequence where he had like a booby-trapped apartment, but that's why the scene's a little short when he goes to the apartment.
Yeah.
And in the apartment, Robin finds F-84. Very early Alcatraz apartment, but F-84, of course, is going to be big later.
Right. So meanwhile, Bruce is entering Arkham.
Yes, and he finds a tied-up guard in Arkham, and Dr. Bartholomew is missing. Meanwhile, really nicely laid out here too. Good economy of screen time because again, we kind of hit our beats really
Kind
nicely.
of cutting back and forth. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Bartholomew is gone. He looks out the window. There's the bat signal. Cut to. We're on the GCP rooftop. No Jim Gordon, I'm afraid, but it's Bullock wearing his fancy new cufflinks that Lockup gave him, because basically Lockup got kidnapped Commissioner Gordon and took Bullock 15 minutes to hit the switch on your overgrown flashlight. I love that line. Bullock has no regard for like the sanctity of the bat signal. It's just
right.
just like it took me 15 minutes to hit the stupid switch on your overgrown flashlight. So basically, Batman's put together. He's going after the people from the inquest. Next target's probably Mayor Hill. Doesn't explain a lot of this to Bullock. Just, hey, put more security on Mayor Hill. You want mind letting me in on things? And of course, bad exit. Typical.
All right. So let's see. Next, we go to Hill's house.
Yeah,
You want
sure
me
guy.
to hide during a crisis? How will that look to the voters? Ooh. That's topical.
I love that. I
That's
love that
super
again. It's like
topical.
sure. I love that it's one step back for him, though. I love that, like Hill again, as you've been kind of noticing, Hill again, he's a well-meaning individual. He's a well-meaning where again, one step back. Though, how will this look to the voters? Where it's like I can't hide during crisis, but the voters. So he's gloating. I'm sorry, go on.
No, go ahead.
So he basically says he has top-of-the-line security system, and it's virtually impenetrable.
Virtually.
But not completely, says Batman and Robin as they enter. Again, a little nod to Laughing Fish, where Batman's just like, if I can get in this easy, so can the Joker. A little callback to that.
Sure. Okay, so a bunch of smoke bombs go off. Hill is captured right in front of Batman's eyes. That must sting.
Yeah. So then, of course, basically there he sees the Lockup getting away in his van. So Batman and Robin, they rush to the Batmobile. But then this is when Lockup takes it a step too far. You don't do this, man. You don't put baby in the corner. You don't boot the Batmobile. Not in my town.
right.
Not in my town.
Totally.
No one boots that sweet piece of machinery that is the animated series Batmobile. Not in my town. Anyway. So, of course, Robin makes yet another joke. Robin has not earned points with Batman in this episode. He says, get to pay a parking ticket, just again with her, like not now. But yeah. Do you remember that famous meme of Batman backhand Robin? This is where that meme comes from, if you ask me.
Right. All right, so Bolton takes Hill into a mysterious prison where folks like Summer Gleeson and Jim Gordon already are. And I see your taste in prisoners is improving, Bolton, Gordon remarks upon seeing Hill.
Yep. And of course, Bolton. This is a great exchange between him and Gordon. I love that Gordon has the gumption to kind of stand up to lock up too, which makes sense. Where he just says, "You have 3 seconds to release those bars." And of course, Gordon trying to negotiate here, just saying, "Look, if you let us go now, I can guarantee leniency." Because I think he recognizes that Bolton's whacked out of his mind. He needs to be in Arkham, or again, like, let's just try to nip this in the bud. Again, being the pragmatist, trying to help everybody here. And of course, zap, and then we have one of the money lines from Lockup. I don't do leniency. Great.
And of course, we already set up the electrocuted bars, so that's a good payoff.
Yeah. All right, so let's see. So back in the Batcave, we've scanned the locks, and we notice some rust residue from seawater, which implies wherever he's at sea. And then they kind of realize, wait, what if F-84 is like a ship? So we check the shipping, kind of check the ocean essentially, like shipping yards and everything. We find the Halsey. Now, Tiki, this is my favorite bit upon revisiting the episode. This really blew my mind how really genius this was. So, the Halsey was the precursor to Stonegate, the Stonegate Penitentiary. If you remember, every time we go to Stonegate is shaped like a giant boat.
Yes.
Shaped like a ship. So it's a little nod to that.
So essentially, the idea of this is like basically a giant prison in the form of a ship.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's the idea, and again, it's kind of now. This is it's modeled the whole third act and the whole setting on the ship. That's a reference to the Great Expectations, the book, by the way, all that sort of stuff. But anyway, so I think about this, and the idea that Bruce Wayne and Harvey Dent, they were building Stonegate. While they were building Stonegate, the Halsey was being used, and of course, then building Stonegate led to Poison Ivy. So again, I love the connective tissue of it all here, where again, like the prototype of Stonegate and all that. And yet another folly of kind of connection to Bruce Wayne. It's a really good idea.
Someone's doing their homework, following all the continuity.
And no, I love it. Thank you, Mitch Bryan, one of the continuity. All right. So, okay, there's a prison barge in Great Expectations in case the kids are curious. What is he talking about? Why is he referencing Miles Morales and Spider-Verse? No, it's the other anyway. So, all right, okay, so now we're on. We go using the Batboat, man. We're in the Batboat again. It's been ages since we've used this thing.
Right, it's nice. It's nice to see it pop up again. Yeah.
All right, so we mentioned that Bolton was the security chief on the Halsey, which again was during Operation Stonegate, the building of the thing. So it's his playground, which means they're in trouble the minute they step foot on this boat.
Mm-hmm. All right, so they get on the boat. Batman says for Robin to shut down the security systems. Then Lock Up is saying from the security room, "You brought this on yourself, Batman."
Again, he doesn't want to do this. He wants to be besties. He wants to be the new Robin, essentially. That's what he wants to be. He wants Robin's job.
Right.
Then, of course, he goes for the arming system. So, like, right now, Robin, he uses, like, a power source kind of meter to find, like, where the controls are so he can shut them down and kind of, like, take the advantage away from Lockup. But it's going to take some doing. As Batman, meanwhile, he's going to be dodging artillery fire. You're resourceful, Dark Knight, but sooner or later, you're mine. And again, respect for Batman. Again, I think some of the best villains have a respect for Batman, Ra's al Ghul being the prime example.
Definitely. All right, so meanwhile, Robin is kind of in the hallways, and let's see, Lockup unleashes these weird kind of like tentacle, like Doc Ock style arms that trap him in place.
Yeah, like some weird coil things, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So he then uses a bat grenade and like throws it at the camera, which, I mean, don't question, it's a we don't care moment. Folks. Why would that stop the arms? Well, I don't know, it knocked something loose.
Right.
So meanwhile, Batman, to kind of save Robin's hide as well, Batman's mixing it up with Bolton in the control room.
Mm.
Little fight action going on there. As he kind of points out, you've already lost Bolton, as Robin's disabling the security system and everything, kind of being able to free everyone, so on and so forth. Batman gets his leg chained, then he himself gets chained. Let's see. Also, again, really good weapon choice for the whole lockup of it all. Again, call back to he chains us down.
Yeah, exactly.
So Robin does a little coding to kind of like help defuse the thing. Meanwhile, Batman kind of saves himself from getting hurt by Lockup. He does this great kick that kind of hits. As he kicks Lockup, he hits like a switch that basically the boat begins to move now, which is not good. And it crashes into a rock and does the full Titanic, kids. Like it's going nose up, man. It's going. It's like Titanic, but a bridge. It's like a watchable version of Titanic, of all the good stuff.
I still have my prisoners. I like how that's one of my favorite things about Bolton is that he's just kind of like, he's so fixated on that lifestyle, on that, on that image that he's carved for himself, and that's going to make a killer ending, which we'll get to.
Absolutely.
All right.
So Batman and Lockup, they battle in the rain, which I hear the writers, they were hoping it was going to be amped up a little more. I think it does the job, but I mean, yeah, it's not like the end of Perchance the Dream with that sort of lightning storm, but it's still pretty cool. So they're fighting in the rain on the outside of this ship, and he says, "I was working with you, Batman. You apprehend." Again, he's just a nut job repeating the same mantra. You apprehend, and I keep them locked away.
Right. It's like Batman's just kind of like, I never agreed to that, dude.
Yep. And I love Batman Batman again championing the compassion for the villains because again he doesn't want to just this episode is a great example of why he's not the Frank Miller Batman. Why he's not like the later Frank Miller Batman.
Oh boy.
Because again he's not all but like punching evil in the face. He's trying to fix things, but also so again it's like many people say, why is Batman always beat up on the mentally ill people? Well, what he's trying to. And this is an excellent feather in the cap as to why here. I've seen how you treat your prisoners, forgotten, scared, without hope or compassion. Can it be you actually care for those creatures? Just you're just as crazy as they are. I just love the irony in this statement. Just trying to take the debatable stance: is Batman as crazy as his villains coming from this guy?
All right. Let's see. So we have a great line. Set up the order line.
Okay, so essentially, Lockup says, I couldn't get rid of the fools in city. I could have gotten rid of the fools in City Hall and the police department. We could have made our own order.
And then I love this. This is one of my favorite Batman lines, Dragon. Yeah. It's great.
Yeah.
I was born to fight your brand of order.
Heck yeah.
Right?
Yeah. He batarangs the chain away, like, cast the chains aside, man. So then basically Lockup tosses Batman off the nose of the boat, and he kind of near the rudders, which is really dangerous. And
it's a pretty intense finale, Dragon. It really is.
It is. He's trying to cut Batman's head off like Rager stuff. Right? Man. It's terrifying. And I love the heft
train. Like, I'm scared of the wheels.
Yes. I love like the heft of Lockup, like when he jumps down, the whole thing begins to tip over the ship and everything too. Like he's dragging him, and then the thing is, Batman's really in a bind. He cuffs Batman using his own bat cuffs, which is really sad. He then drags Batman by his cape. Robin, meanwhile, he saved the hostages and everything. Now he's going out to help him. Before he does, before Lockup practically kills Batman. Also, amidst this fight too, like Batman's like throwing muck from like the barnacles and the ick on the ship, and like throws it in Lockup's face using his surroundings. But then Batman, big moment here, before Batman he kicks into the rudder, Batman grabs Lockup's boot and he drops them both into the water. Which I gotta admit, this is gonna sound silly, but again, this moment always haunted me in a good way. Where I love this image of Robin and Jim Gordon going out over the side, concerned over, oh God, what happened to Batman?
No, I mean, I kind of feel it, Dragon. It's like they pull like a tiny little implied death for a second there.
Yeah.
It's like they linger on it just enough for you to be like, oh wait, oh my God.
Yeah.
I imagine it is like especially effective if you are a kid watching it and like. Obviously, now we know they're not going to kill Batman, obviously, but...
Yeah. So then we have like the heroic grappling line reveal, like, "Oh boy, saved!" The grappling line comes out, and Batman he drags Lockup with him, like, "Yeah, he saved him." Robin, of course, with the cutesy line. Robin's all sorts of cutesy this episode here. He's like,
He's
"Keep
very
that."
cheeky this episode. He really is.
Yep, he's a cheeky little bugger this episode for sure. So, I keep asking him to teach me I keep asking him to teach me that trick. So Batman calls for the Batboat, and they're all saved. Then we have a really awesome and effective ending. Tiki, you want to tell him about it?
Oh God, yes. Okay, so Lockup is being led into Arkham, and of course everyone is kind of taunting him, like, oh, let's see, what are some of the lines? Help me out with
So
this,
hey, like
Dragon.
Harley saying, like, "Hey, Mr. Big Shot." You hear Joker laughing in the background, which I think they just pulled old audio from an episode. I'm not sure if they brought Mark Hamill in just to laugh. I'm not sure. They might have, because he loves the show. He might have done it for the heck of it. But anyway, so to the inmates' glee, Lockup, Lyle Bolton is now brought, and then Crane has the money line here. "Now you shall learn new lessons in fear." Like Crane, he's taking a whole 180 from where he was at the start. Here he's back, baby. Crane's back.
All right,
Then we
but
have the full pickle,
this
man.
leads to one great freaking ending monologue, Dragon. I love it.
Full bickle.
All right. They thought they could trap me in the world of lunatics. But I showed them. Now I can keep an eye on everyone. They'll never slip past me again. Fucking great ending. Love
Let me
it.
tell you, that's great. You know, what makes it even better. Think about it, Tiki. He's going into a cell where again we can't see. We can only see his eyes, like the lockup mask, and he was like in shadow inside the cell. And it's very psych. It's like the ending of Psycho. Like I won't even hurt a fly. It's like that sort of
Sure,
thing.
sure.
It's awesome.
It's very open ended.
And they put him in like the Green Mile cell, like the cell in the corner at the edge of the room where he can see everyone on the side. Like, oh god, it's great. It's perfect. Awesome. Very full circle. I love it. All right, so that's the end of the episode. Final thoughts.
I mean, final thoughts. I think I've pretty much said my piece on this, man. It's great. It's a hidden gem for sure. It's honestly one of my favorites. Like I said, especially just because going in, I really didn't know what to expect at all, and I don't know. I really do think this fires on all cylinders on a lot of fronts.
Yeah, yeah. Again, the episode has a really nice original. Has a really it's again, basically, season three again is an example of these really nice kind of original stories for the animated series. Again, Lockup being created purely for the animated series, like a Harley Quinn or like a Red Claw. But again, let's focus on the ones that took Harley Quinn. And that's the thing. It's really it's a shame we don't do more with Lockup because fun fact, Lockup and Harley Quinn Lockup was introduced before Harley Quinn in the comics from the animated series. They put him in No Man's Land, then Harley kind of followed him into No Man's Land.
Nice, nice.
So yeah, at least they both appear in that. There might have been like she appeared in the tie-in comic the animated series. So, sorry, let me anyway keep going here. So I love continuing Paul Dini's themes and his ideas about kind of like how the Batman universe works. Again, like Batman taking a proactive approach to stopping the revolving door problem in Arkham. Again, the celebrity culture of villainy driving a crazy guard even further off the reservation. Just seeing that gone wrong, seeing the culpability of both Bruce Wayne and Batman within all this. Just genius idea is what I live for in the animated series. And yet another reason, season 3, it's the underdog season, man. It's lovely.
All right. Dragon, tease us up for next episode.
Comedians turn criminal, a riotous revenge, Condiment King. Can Batman and Robin get to the bottom of this insanity? Will this episode cut the mustard? Will Don O'Connor sue? Tune in next time to find out. Same animated bat time, same animated bat place.
On the next visit to the animated Batcave with Make 'em Laugh, Make 'em Laugh.
Termites!
Termites!
Help me, oh my god, termites!